Government reviewing a plan to disengage more than 100 pensioners who were brought back into the public service. Good Thursday evening, Bahamas. I'm Altaviz Munnings. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. The move comes amidst government's review of the public service and an assessment of the jobs that more than 20,000 employees carry out daily. We can tell you that the story doesn't end there, though. Clint Watson is just back from speaking with the Minister of the Public Service, and it appears that this move could be saving the government millions of dollars annually. Good evening, Clint.
Good evening, Altaviz. You said it correctly. The government is hoping to save a pretty penny without compromising the effectiveness of the service. A review is now underway of the entire process, and it appears that the process of re-engagement of someone receiving a pension like it was under the previous F&M government will be reinstituted. To explain it further, here's how it works. Under the last Ingram administration, the policy was instituted that if you wanted to be re-engaged, we wanted to re-engage someone receiving a pension, they had the option of either receiving the pension or the salary. But according to the Minister of the Public Service, the Honorable Brenzo Roll, the former Christie administration changed this policy and allowed pensioners re-engaged to receive both their pension and a salary. That practice will now stop, and the government will revert to the original policy.
We had a number of persons who were re-engaged in the profession, in the public service, and they're receiving now both their pensions and their salary, and at the end of their contract, they receive, for the most part, a gratuity of 15%. So, in reality, what that breaks down to in the service is a high-level public officer whose salary may have been $80,000, and they may be receiving a pension of $60,000, and at the end of a contract, a 3-year contract or a 2-year contract, they receive 50% and 15% of that contract. We've determined that the economy cannot and the government cannot sustain this activity.
By stopping this policy, government expects to save millions of dollars. There are some 126 to 130 people that fall into this category. Minister Roll says those who fall into this category have been understanding with the government's position.
They too also know that there are thousands of ordinary Bahamians who are out of jobs and cannot work, and it's totally almost unfair for them to be in these positions. But we don't blame them for this position. The government offered those pensioners this job.
The minister admits, though, that the government is not in the position to discontinue everyone's services immediately.
And so we've said to them, we've got to have a plan, an exit plan for when you can leave the service, with the full understanding that there's going to be some succession planning for individuals beneath them. And so, yes, we're taking that stance today, and it has affected some individuals already, and we expect and anticipate that it's going to affect others in the next week or two.
Some of the individuals have been asked to renegotiate their contracts while succession planning for others. Regardless of the method, government has decided it cannot continue to pay salaries at this level.
And yes, the numbers are in the millions. If you combine the re-engaged pensioners with the number of consultants that the government have employed, the government will save millions.
Now, Altaviz, there is some positive news in this, if you will put it that way. The minister says this is a two-pronged approach, and they are appealing to young, qualified and talented Bahamians overseas and here at home to consider applying to the service to fill these critical roles. Back to you.
Well, Clint, I have a question. What about that mass verification exercise going on? Does that have anything to do with this latest development?
You know, it's really interesting you should ask this question, Alto. We're following several new developments with this verification process, and it's uncovering some interesting things. All we'll say at this point is we understand there are people on the government's payroll still receiving a salary who are either retired or no longer employed. It's a developing story. We'll have full details once this verification process has completed by the end of next week. As you know, it's the end of the month. In the newsroom, I'm Clint Watson. Back to you.
Thanks so much, Clint. Great work today.